Farmers know their land like their own heartbeat, but mine had gone rotten. The chickens didn't just vanish, they were taken. And at night, the darkness breathed back. This isn't superstition. This is what happened when I crossed a man who dealt in older things. 2 weeks after our argument, the first chicken disappeared. No blood, no struggle. Just an empty coop, the latch still closed. That's when my workers started whispering about the thing in the shadows, the one with too many teeth. What began as ordinary disputes soon spiraled into something far darker, something that defied all logic and explanation. This is the true account of what lurked in the darkness at farm, a story that still haunts my nightmares. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Chickens would vanish overnight, their coops left completely undisturbed. No broken latches, no scattered feathers, no signs of struggle. At first, I blamed foxes or raccoons, though I'd never known them to be so meticulous. My workers, however, grew increasingly uneasy. They whispered among themselves, casting nervous glances toward the tree line at dusk. Jefe, Manuel, my most experienced hand, pulled me aside one morning, his voice barely above a whisper. Last night, I saw something by the old feed barn. It wasn't an animal. It stood like a man but moved wrong. Too fast, too jerky. His hands trembled as he spoke, his eyes darting toward the barn in question. I dismissed his fears, attributing them to fatigue or an overactive imagination, until I saw the footprints myself. A heavy rain had left the ground soft, revealing a trail of prints that made my blood run cold. They were barefoot, vaguely human, but elongated, with deep gouges at the tips where claws should be. The most unsettling part, they led into the coop, but never back out. It was as if whatever made them had simply vanished. That night, I sat awake in the farmhouse, my shotgun across my lap. The animals were restless. The dogs whined and scratched at the door, refusing to settle. Around 2 a.m., the motion light near the feed barn flickered on. I peered through the window, my breath fogging the glass, and saw it. A hunched figure stood near the barn, its back to me, shoulders twitching rhythmically. Then, as if sensing my gaze, it turned. The light hit its face, and the bulb exploded in a shower of sparks. In the sudden darkness, I heard it. A wet, clicking sound, like bones cracking, coming from right outside the window. Desperate for answers, I tracked down the man I'd crossed, a local figure with a reputation for cruelty and strange connections. His smirk, when I confronted him, made my skin crawl. "You still don't understand," he said, sliding an old, yellowed map across the table. My land was circled in red. This was never about me. You built over a doorway, and now something's awake. That night, the chickens reappeared. Not just dead, but arranged. Their torn bodies formed a grotesque spiral in the center of the yard, their heads all pointing toward my bedroom window. The air smelled of copper and something worse, a sweet, rotting stench that clung to my clothes for days. The final horror began with the knocking. 3 precise raps at 3:17 a.m., night after night. I'd lie awake, drenched in sweat, counting the seconds between each knock. Then, one evening, a 4th knock came. From inside the house. I grabbed my shotgun, my hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the stock. The attic hatch creaked open above me. I fired blindly, the muzzle flash illuminating the room for a split second. It was enough. Gaunt, emaciated limbs. Skin like wet leather stretched too tight over bones. And its mouth. God, its mouth, stretched far too wide, filled with needle-like teeth. Then darkness swallowed it whole. I sold the farm the next week, accepting a fraction of its worth. The new owner called me days later, laughing about strange noises. The line went dead mid-sentence. I didn't call back. Now, I sleep with the lights on. I startle at every creak and groan of my apartment building, because I know, deep down, that some doors, once opened, cannot be closed. So if you ever find yourself on a quiet farm where the animals grow suddenly silent, where the shadows seem to move just beyond your vision, listen closely. If the night feels too still, if the air smells faintly of rot, run. Whatever I awakened at farm is still hungry, and it remembers faces.